Good morning, everyone. John and Dearbhla here for week 2 or update 2 of our little series here on everything you might want to know about potentially going to live and work in the USA. Good to see you again, Dearbhla.
Good to see you too.
Sorry for dragging you in from that beautiful sunshine we've been having out there, but sometimes these are the chores we have to do.
I can't deal with it anyways. I'm over it.
So today we just wanted to sort of, I suppose, discuss a little bit more about the requirements that are in place for anyone who is looking to participate on this H2B program and the reasons why. So I suppose the first one very much sort of is you definitely want to be available to depart the end of the first week in October. Usually it's around October the 4th to 5th, and you definitely need to be able to stay over in Florida until at least May 31st. There is the opportunity then for people who want to extend and they want to spend up to 3 years over there, but the initial contract requirement is October 1st to May 31st. And I suppose the reason behind it is that's the peak season in Florida when the country clubs are at their busiest, and that's when we are able to secure these H2B visas to bring people over. What was your experience, Dearbhla, when you went over in October, like through May? Did you see a lot of sort of peaks and valleys to where it was really busy and quieting down, or was it just always continually a busy environment? And did you notice any impact on you or the team when, say, if a group of people decided to leave and come home early? How did it affect everyone?
Yeah, so we didn't actually get over till mid-December because of COVID and stuff. It was
Yep.
pushed back a bit. So when we arrived, it was straight into work kind of, and it was Christmas season and then New Year. So it was very, very busy. I was just kind of like thrown into it a little bit, but it was good because I learned a lot faster. I had to like think on my feet. So yeah, it was interesting, but not a lot of people like left when I was over there at the
Oh,
first time.
you're blessed. You must have been working with one of the better teams or better clubs as well that managed to retain everybody.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I suppose one of the downsides we would see is, especially if it's a smaller club, if you're working at one of our clubs that maybe only take 8 to 10 internationals a year, and let's say 2 or 3 people decide to leave within the first couple of weeks and come home, now all of a sudden those 7 people that are remaining are trying to pick up the extra workload for the 3 that were supposed to be in play. So I suppose it's something we are always trying to make sure people are just aware of is the expectation is you will be able to fly over the end of the first week in October, and there can be a little bit of flexibility there if there's an important event going on, if the team's big enough to be able to accommodate it. But definitely for people to remain until the end of May. Now, one thing to just say on that point is, yes, if there is a family emergency, or if something is going on at home and you have to be able to come home, your club 100%, if you go and speak to them, will have you on a flight, typically within 24 to 48 hours, back home to take care of whatever it is you need to take care of, and will be more than happy for you to come back over and join the club if that's what you want to do once you've got whatever the issue is at home rectified. So it's really just about communicating with the clubs once you're over there about anything that's going on, or even if you know your brother or sister, or there's an event going on that you really want to be home for during that period, to just mention it at the interview stage. For argument's sake, we have people who their brother or sister might be getting married in around February or March. They want to know, can they come home for it? And the club are like, yeah, of course, no problems at all. As long as we know in advance, we can make sure we coordinate schedules. But as much as possible, it's to be able to remain from October through to the end of May. I suppose, one of the other steps we went through in the earlier season about the ideal ages being 21 to 29 and the reasons why. So if you haven't sort of, I suppose, heard that part, go check out the previous video we have up for this. It'll explain all that to you. But definitely, if you are successful and you are hired, one of the next sort of steps that you have to go through is you have to be able to secure a clean police record. Now, we'll walk you through the steps on how to do that. I'm sure you'll agree, Dearbhla, it's not overly stressful. It's fill out a
That's very
form.
straightforward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fill out a form, drop it into your local police station.
Yeah.
Week to 10 days, they hand it back to you.
Yeah.
I'm always, I suppose, I'm always a little bit amazed by people who are amazed when something has popped up in their police clearance. Um,
Yeah.
I would sort of figure most people would know if they've had a criminal record for something. So wouldn't even, I suppose, go through a process where they're going to have to be able to produce a clean police record at the end of the day anyway. But it does happen, and we try and sort of deal with those scenarios when they come up. But I suppose while we're talking about the clean police record as well, it is not for the US Embassy. They will carry out their own FBI investigation and check on everybody who's potentially going to be looking for a visa to enter the USA. They do that independently themselves. The police clearance that we request everyone to do is primarily for your country club. Your country clubs obviously want to make sure that they're bringing over people who don't have a criminal background. Now, we've had occasions over the years where somebody maybe has had a misdemeanor like shoplifting or maybe a drunken disorderly 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. And each of those cases is presented to a club, and then a club and Workaway and ourselves will have a discussion and see whether it's something we want to sort of be able to overlook and move forward with, or whether we can't. But definitely, police clearance is something that needs to be secured. And as I said, we will help you achieve that. The next, I suppose, part of the process, and I suppose a requirement for being able to head over to Florida at the end of the day, is passing a medical. What was your experience with the medicals, Dearbhla?
Again, pretty straightforward. I went up to Dublin on a bus and went to the clinic. It was like within walking distance, and yeah, I didn't have to wait very long. And then I was in, and then they just took some like bloods and just some checks, and then I was on my way again within 30 minutes.
Yeah. So the medical is first and foremost a two-step process. And the great thing about it is there is no fasting, and we cover all the costs. We literally provide you with a booking link where you go ahead and book your appointment date for date and time that suits you. As Dearbhla said, make your own way to Dublin. We also have a clinic in London for anyone who's UK based. And you will attend a clinic with a copy of your passport for proof of identity. And it's general fitness, it's general medical, blood test and urine test. It's predominantly used for our health insurance providers over in the USA to make sure that we can show them any pre-existing conditions or that somebody's a clean bit of health. But for when something does pop up over in the States, it gets completely covered on the health insurance. The second part of it is very much, we are very proud that we have a zero drug tolerance process and program in place with Workaway, something Workaway are very proud of, the clubs are very proud of. So part of that medical and that blood test and urine test is we do a 10-panel check on drugs. And unfortunately, anyone who has or is using drugs, or it shows that they've been using drugs, their offer letter is rescinded and they aren't able to move forward in the process. So again, that's sort of one of the requirements, definitely.
Didn't you say that painkillers can come up sometimes as drugs?
Correct. 100% correct, Dearbhla. Yeah, we every year have a couple of occasions to where if you're using certain painkillers, Solpadeine Plus, Nurofen Plus, they have trace elements of codeine in them. And the codeine shows up as trace elements of cocaine on a drugs test. But again, it's something we'll sort of flag with you in advance and identify what you should and shouldn't be using leading up to those medicals. But even if it is a painkiller, it shows as such a small trace element that typically the clubs and ourselves will just have you retake the test. Now, it is a bit of a pain because you have to come back to the clinic and go through the process again. But again, we'll sort of walk you through the steps of that process once we get there. But it is just very worthwhile to note that you will have to pass a drugs test here in Ireland or the UK, and you will undergo another random drugs test, typically within the first 48 hours of landing in Florida before you start working with your club. I don't know if your club did random drug tests throughout the year, or was it just the one when you landed, Dearbhla?
Just the one when we landed. For me, anyways.
Yeah. Typically, the clubs will just do one when you land. They would do reserve the right that if they think there's a drug issue going on within the team, that they will do another random drug test throughout the course of the year. It's not trying to catch people out. It's just more for everyone to be aware of. We have a zero drug tolerance, and it's something that everybody involved in the program is very proud of. So it's something that you will have to, I suppose, be able to pass. The last little piece then of the requirements, I suppose, is really all about your attitude and your ability to get on with your teammates. When people land over in Florida and start working and start, I suppose, socializing with their fellow teammates, there's a zero tolerance really towards anyone who wants to create drama, either at work or at home in the apartments. Again, I'm not too sure if you came across it, Dearbhla, with any of the teams or the clubs you were working in, but I do know over the years, it is probably the biggest reason why somebody will get released from contract and sent home early from the States is because they either are causing drama within the team at work, which isn't acceptable, or they're causing drama with the team when they're out socializing or back in the apartments. And again, it's just something that the clubs don't have any tolerance for. Did you come across it at all yourselves, Dearbhla, over there?
I didn't see anyone get sent home for it, but I did see like it, people being kind of reprimanded for it, for sure. People
Okay.
like they can be very kind of, they can get really bossy and start trying to boss people around and get like a manager complex, and people don't like that.
Yep.
Also, there's like people that really are trying to get sponsored, and like they're trying really, really hard to be there and to like to kind of show how hard they can work. So sometimes that can come across as a bit like intimidating to people or a bit bossy to people, but they're just like, they're just trying to make a future for themselves.
Yep. Yeah, so it's just really important, I suppose, that people are going over there for the right reasons and they do want to be part of a team and they want to enjoy both the social side of meeting new people and meeting new friends and hopefully creating some lifelong friends, as well as being able to be a good team member at work and deliver that level of service that the members expect, and that people are obviously being brought over there to do. I suppose one of the other requirements that we would have, and that would sometimes pose a bit of an issue as well for us, is obviously we deal with everyone who is based currently or is has lived in the UK and Ireland. We are the agents for the UK and Ireland. We have colleagues who are the representatives for Portugal and Italy, and we have colleagues who are the representatives for South Africa. If you check the Workaway International website, workaway.com, you can definitely find out the contact details for the South African team and the contact details for our Portugal and Italian colleagues. We here at B are only able to help people who, as I said, are currently living and working in the UK and Ireland, or maybe are in Europe and are able to get back into the UK and Ireland. But you definitely have to be in Ireland or the UK for the month of September. It is sort of there's no point in not being around for September, because September is when we'll take you through police clearance, medicals, embassy appointments, and getting people ready for flights. So if you are currently living and working in Greece, like we have a couple of people each year come from, you have to be ready to pack up and relocate and be back in the UK or Ireland for the month of September and ready to fly out in the month of October. You can be working over in Greece, June, July, August, no problems at all. Once you've been interviewed through Zoom, if you're going to be staying outside of Ireland or the UK, that's fine. But once you've been interviewed and offered, you need to really get yourself organised and be ready to be home in the UK or Ireland to go through the administrative side of the process.
Mhm.
Anything else you can think of, Dearbhla? Any other words or tips or bits of wisdom you can share with people?
I suppose just as you said before, just as long as you have a good attitude, you'll be absolutely fine. Just be willing to learn. Have a basically all good attitude.
Yep. And I suppose the last little requirement, it's more a part of our process, that I know some people don't mind, other people are just a little bit hesitant or nervous with doing, is the video clip section. So after you apply through our website or through Indeed, and we take you through the initial screening process, we'll send you an email welcoming you and congratulating you and looking for you to move forward and basically complete our video clip section, where you need to log into our system. We'll give you all the details and the access and the help, and basically record yourself answering 3 to 4 questions. The questions are very easy. They're not questions to try and trick you up or to try and find out how much experience you have or you haven't. The questions are very much, we just want to be able to gather your personality, why you're looking to do this, what you're hoping to get out of it. And with those video clips, we share that and your CV with our clubs to try and secure you interviews. I know just from talking to my colleagues this morning, we have about 96 people who are somewhere in the process of starting to or in the progress of recording your video clips. The sooner you get it done, the sooner we can share your profile with our clubs and secure you those interviews, and hopefully planes or seats on the planes over to Florida. Dearbhla, what was your experience doing the videos?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think I just did it on my phone actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just answered the questions, sent them off. It was easy, and you can retake them as far as I can remember, can't you?
100% correct. Yep.
So you don't.
And I do, and I'll obviously look through your video clips as well. And if there is any issues or problems, I'll flag it with you beforehand and ask you to retake it. But again, I suppose these are only for the clubs. These aren't going out
Yeah.
in social media. We're not putting them on the internet for everyone to watch. They're closed circuit for our clubs to try and help secure you an interview. So I suppose, and we'll explain it to you in the email, but like just try and dress somewhat professional. I'm amazed how we'll have people log in, laying in their bedroom in their, oh, I don't know, pajamas, recording a video clip to go to a club to try and secure an opportunity to go and spend 8 months living or working with them in the USA. It doesn't need to be a stage scene, but like I would definitely be dressing as if you would to attend an interview, and then just go ahead and let that personality shine.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, look, the last thing just to mention to everybody, we will be starting our info nights on Thursday. So basically every Thursday night, 8 p.m., we will have a Zoom information night. You will see the link for it in our bios on any of the social platforms. Go ahead and click on the link, join us in Zoom, hear a little bit more about the steps ahead, about the process, and ask any questions you might have. Other than that, that is all we have for you for this week. Dearbhla, thanks as always for joining me, and we will get this. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.